This, yeah. This is just a 40s musical.
Yeah.
Oh no, though the structure is
not-
very. In fact, I think this is Camille.
And it's
Well, it is Camille.
Yeah.
thing that they do with where they pull the music cues like that actually I didn't think actually had aged all that well.
Like, well, it's sort of a hits list from that time,
right?
To some extent. Although he's all over the map with the songs that he's pulling in for his medley.
Right. I mean, there's "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend."
Sure,
but then there's a lot
and
of
fucking Lady Marmalade.
Yeah,
that's not even the most egregious example. I think.
You know, It Smells Like Teen Spirit is the most egregious example by far.
Back on Endless.
Who was telling me the story about Courtney Love in this film?
That makes it feel dated, by the way, is
yes.
The Smells by Teen Spirit and the U2, those things that felt like they were current at the time.
Yeah,
is what feels dated now.
Yeah,
it's
well, the movie
it really
is 20
sticks
years
out.
old.
It really sticks out. You have the thing is, it's throwing all you need is love. You know, with all those little lines without singing them. It's like, okay, we're jukebox musicaling the dialogue now. You know, what I mean? It's like it's very, you know, and you're trying for a piece of artifice. It's not supposed to be real. It's supposed to be a little bit poetic. It's supposed to be like floating above it all kind of thing. And that's fine. But I thought that weirdly enough, using those modern music breaks brought it down to earth every time. I was going someplace magical. They were like, oh, you know, and they started like mentioning a Beatles song and like Crash, or like, you know, Nirvana song Crash. Yeah. And it just brought it back to a mundane place for me. It's weird.
Had they had a really great original score, I think this would probably age better over time.
I think there's one original piece of music in it.
Two original songs, I think. Yeah.
Come What May, and what else?
The one near the end. I can't remember the name of it, but
because Come What May was actually, I guess, written for Romeo plus Juliet, and he didn't use it, and so he used it here. And I didn't think there was another one, because the other big piece of music in it is Nature Boy, and that's not original to the film.
No, although it was kind of rearranged in an original way.
It was used well, I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, the costume design and the art direction, etc. I mean, it's like, forget it. Like, it deserved all the accolades that it got. I mean, this is a gorgeous movie, and I love the saturated colors, and I love. You guys started to kind of go off on this in the chat a little bit. It is rather frenetically edited right off the bat.
Oh yeah.
And maybe
rather
get older, I'm not able to kind of like digest it like I used to.
Okay, Chris. I'm going to name the film that reminds you the most of that came out recently, and it's a 4-letter film. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mad Max Fury Road.
You think?
Oh, very much. I could draw a straight line between this film and Mad Max.
You're on all of the drugs.
No, the thing is, I think I'm making an argument that there's an Australian style of this kind of film where it's a lot of it is based on excess. It is throwing as much as you can out there, as nutty as you can.
No, this is
well. That's because they didn't have indoor plumbing until.
That's part of it. That's part of it. But you know, countries have national styles, and that might be a national.
Throw it on the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah, you got George Miller.
You laugh, John, but it's true.
Yeah, George Miller and Baz Luhrmann, they do a lot of things the same way, and maybe even Russell Mulcahy, if you look at it.
I got to really think about that now.
George Miller is entirely about practical effects. Like, yeah, he uses CG in Fury Road, but like only really to enhance the like color of it and the majesty of it. Like he that so much of that movie is practical. Like nothing in this movie is practical except for what's right behind you, Scott. It's
although
the elephant's real.
Also, you could loop backwards and say, okay, maybe not Mad Max Fury Road, maybe
Thunderdome. Babe, Pig in the City.
Yeah, exactly.
But Pig in the City and this, I'll give you that.
If you want to see, if you want this movie to suffer in a really significant way, you should watch another movie that came out right around the same time as this, which is Vidocq, which is directed by the French visual artist Pitoff, who unfortunately then went on to make Catwoman.
Well, we gotta start somewhere.
And Vidocq is relatively well known for being, along with like Sky Captain, one of the first purely digital sets.
I like green screen.
I actually really love that film.
Sky Captain's a guilty pleasure for me.
It is, same here.
I have wanted to pick. Vidocq has been the movie that I've wanted to pick since the beginning of this, and it is literally not available anywhere. anywhere.
I think we all have one of those now, or two, the films that you can't. I want to recommend, but you can't find.
Yeah.
Can't find it.
Yeah, that's why you guys never going to see was it Warm Bodies or whatever it was? Not Warm Bodies, but Home Bodies.
But
Anyway,
I want to.
Go ahead. I like
wanna-
this movie. It's just there's things I noticed this time, 20 years later, where I'm like, oh, that's kind of a minus. But it's for the virtue of the fact that it's gorgeous. The two leads are extremely charismatic and have amazing chemistry, and it's very pretty to look at.
Mhm. Well,
So,
go ahead, take it away, Ted.
I hate this movie. I hate it. 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 Like I'm rolling my eyes, and when I'm not rolling my eyes, I'm looking away. I literally, and I don't do this when I'm watching these movies. I like grabbed my tablet and started like playing a game because I'm just like, I can't fucking. I started reading the like Wikipedia page for Red Dawn. Like I
start
just
making cuts in your arm, like during the film.
almost like
Tad's brought to the brink of self-harm.
it's just no, but it's not even that. It's not even like interestingly that
Yeah,
bad.
he loves the Muppets.
I do love the Muppets. The Muppets are great.
This actually has some things in common with a Muppet
It has
movie.
some
Yeah, it
things in
did.
common with a Muppet movie. Unfortunately, what it doesn't have in common with a Muppet movie is heart. This movie feels plastic. Yes, the two leads have decent chemistry. There's some good performances by some of the other characters, but the problem is this movie doesn't have any heart. Like it entirely feels like, one, he wrote it by listening to an iPad on shuffle or an iPod on shuffle. Like, oh, here's a song I like. I'm going to take a fucking one line out of the lyric and I'm going to throw it into this dialogue scene. I'm going to throw it into that dialogue scene. Oh, I'm going to make them sing this song. I'm going to make them sing this song. It just, every part of it doesn't work for me. And so when you picked it, the thing is, I was going to be like, oh, I love how it looked. Because I saw this right around the time it came out. I was like, I'm so excited to at least be able to go back and live in the rich visual tapestry that makes the movie. And when it first starts and you have that really interesting opening scene with the scrolls and the sort of pseudo animation and the black and white and all of that stuff, I was like, yeah. And as soon as you get past that, I'm just like, And the thing is, I like some Baz Luhrmann stuff. Like I really, really like Romeo and Juliet. I like Strictly Ballroom. Like
That was a good film.
I think what happened to me is I then watched Gatsby, and Gatsby makes this worse because I hated that so much.
That you see what's similar here, and yeah.
Did you think this film lacked sincerity? Because you're talking about being plastic. Do you think that there was some lack of earnestness about the plot or the story
I don't. None of it feels sincere. All of it feels completely just surface level and no deeper. Like it if you scratch beyond this, you can see the white fucking paint on the wall behind it. Like it all feels like it's an inch deep and a mile wide.
The love story, Ally McGraw disease that she gets.
Beautiful. Was it old movie disease? As a Mad Magazine.
The sicker she gets, the more
It's
beautiful she
Chekhov's
looks.
disease.
What's it?
Chekhov's pulmonary
there's
fucking tuberculosis.
one of the first things I
Love
learned
conquers all except for
learned in
consumption.
film school. It's called the consumptive character.
Yes.
When they come in, it's like, oh, hello, how are you? It's lovely. You have a beautiful mansion. Thank you. Ahem, ahem. Then you know what's going to happen for the rest of the film.
What's the line from the Woody Allen movie? TB or not TB? That is a congestion.
Yes, pretty much.
Done about it. Of cough.
But once you had that cough, you realize that you're kind of doomed in this film because you know how it's going to end. It's not going to make it.
Jim's going to die.
Yeah.
But
there you go.
now if you cough like that, it means you have COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, now, that's that. The meeting's changed a little bit, but
I don't have COVID.
But this is but
no.
so this
Because
right
Judith,
here, this right here is completely the problem that I have with this movie. Richard Roxburgh is what happens when you get turned down by Gary Oldman. Like it's literally like everything about this movie feels to me like it's somebody trying to slap a coat of paint onto something and make it look like something else.
I like that actor,
including the music.
He was in Reg. He was good in that. But I know,
Jim?
I know. The thing is with me, I'm like, one of the things about seeing it the first time is, I had to dismiss the story because, like I said, the consumptive character and the whole breaking into the thing and the writer angle, which always annoys me. There's a bunch of tropes in there, so I was dismissing it. But the grandeur and spectacle of the whole thing, the set, the color, I was getting into it. But you can imagine from how I feel about widescreen films. You probably know too much, but I think by about a half hour I was overloaded. It was like there's so much going on. It's like I went like, does not compute anymore. It just was too much going on. I'm like, all right, well,
the cutting is like every cut is like
they could have filmed it through like a toilet paper tube, and it would probably have some effects on me. It's like
this is cut like the fight in Fast 7 between Michelle Rodriguez and Ronda Rousey, where every fucking
only you and I have seen that.
I don't care. Every move they make, every time somebody pulls their fist back, every time
a new angle.
And it's not just like back and forth cutting. It's like now we're over here, now we're over here, now we're over here, now we're over here. Like we're behind them, we're in front of them. Like
here's a wide shot. Now we're up in the rafters.
Yeah, and that's what this movie feels like. It's that very like it's hyperkinetic in the wrong way.
All right. I would like to have known how much of this was CG. I know the the Paris flyovers like that.
CG in this movie?
But I thought a lot of it looked like a big gigantic.
2001?
That thing behind you looks like a gigantic practical set.
The elephant was real.
The elephant was real.
So the stage was real, and the redo of the stage was real.
A lot of sound stage with maybe some augmented backgrounds a little bit, but
every
time it was 2001, which means it was made in the late 90s.
I think there's a lot of compositing and stuff, sort of After Effects stuff versus actual 3D models and stuff.
Yeah,
I think all the establishments today, it would be 100% virtual background.
They'd be doing this on one of those LED volume stages, and you wouldn't have to build a thing, right?
So the Paris, when you see Paris,
they shoot like Boba Fett.
The couple of times that you see Paris, that was, I believe, the largest CG model ever put on film at the time.
Oh wow!
Like
a lot of detail,
massive. Yeah, like when the gun bounces off the Eiffel Tower, like it
out of scale.
What the fuck was that, by the way? Like
that's Super Chekhov's double super gun. That thing was like that thing had that gun had
no one gets shot with
this movie.
No one gets shot with it.
That's good stuff.
Which
Jim?
is fine, actually.
I'll take your pointer, Jim.
I liked it. I've seen it a couple of times, I think. Although the middle seeing of it was in bits and pieces on cable. I like jukebox musicals, and I usually am not one for anachronisms in films. I really hate the whole Sam Raimi Hercules and Xena and stuff, kind of tropes. I just find it cheap and tawdry, but for some reason I liked this one, so go figure. And I mean, my favorite musical is Singing in the Rain, which is all the reason the music is so good in it is because it's been culled out of MGM flicks for the past 2 decades.
Yeah.
Every inch was shot in a soundstage,
but it doesn't feel like it. All of that feels
as to the plasticity of it. There's nothing more fucking tired and plastic than a romantic comedy, and comedy of errors to boot.
Sure.
Well, we'll get to that.
It's like ancient fucking, Shakespeare.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like there's a backstage drama / love triangle. And with
it's a typical musical. You've got something, they try and bring things in diegetically, and then they just throw it all out the window with, all you need is love and smells like Teen Spirit.
I went through some of the reviews when this came out, and I was like, you people are all acting like no one ever made a musical before. Like this is groundbreaking. This is so amazing that somebody did. Like, no, man, he literally took Busby Berkeley and 20th century did.
Yeah. One of my favorite pieces of trivia about this movie is that Ray Bradbury hated it.
Makes me like it even more.
Random.
Now, did you guys tell me about the Courtney Love thing? There's someone else told me this. Eileen told me this.
You told me, or no, Eileen told me.
That's right. Courtney Love was campaigning for the role. Was it?
Which is why she hates Nicole Kidman.
Well, hold on.
Yes.
The card's leading the horse here. She campaigned for the role, talked to Baz, let it permission to use Teen Spirit. And then at the end says, no, we want Nicole Kidman because, she's hot. And who apparently was like, she got pregnant during this film, but that they covered it up really.
She also got severely injured.
Yeah, that's true.
She really broke a couple of ribs.
Yeah.
And fucked up her leg.
Wow.
Anyway,
And
Courtney
that's why she's not the main character in Panic Room, is because of how badly she got hurt in this.
What did she
fall?
fall?
So the other thing is, during the whole of this movie, every time they had a close up of Nicole Kidman, all I could think of was Stanley Kubrick and Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Because of Eyes Wide Shut.
All I could think was breathe through your nose.
I was just thinking about George Miller and Dead Calm.
He didn't do that one.
Who was that? Who was that? Is that Peter Weir?
Philip Noyce.
Philip Noyce, thank you. That was Philip Noyce.
That's another Australian director.
All right, that was a hell of a movie. It really was.
It's a very good movie.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to make
it's a hell of a movie.
When Nicole and Ewan were doing press for this movie, someone stopped them in the middle of the interview to tell them that George Lucas had just named the second Star Wars prequel Attack of the Clones, and they both looked at each other and they were like, "No."
That's
a little time capsule.
Also, weirdly enough, there's a bit of a time capsule. This was shot in Australia. He was Obi-Wan Kenobi making the first trilogy in Australia at the time. And David Wenham is in this. He was in The Lord of the Rings.
Yes, he was.
They got kicked out of the studio. They had to do a bunch of pickups in Madrid.
Really?
Yeah.
They overran their production because Nicole Kidman was so badly hurt, and they were going to use that to film Star Wars. They Fox Sydney. They were like, you guys got to get the fuck out because we've got a movie that's going to make $1 billion coming in, and you guys are going to make like 100 million. So
that's right. I looked up the elephant because I wanted to see if there really was an elephant at Moulin Rouge, and there was a big elephant out on the patio that you could go up inside. And they said that the one that was built for Moulin Rouge was destroyed immediately after filming because they had to get Star Wars into that.
Yeah. Oh, actually, here's a question. This is just about maybe the history of the real thing. No, the thing about they had Moulin Rouge was apparently where fancy French guys used to go and see girls' underwear, right? Basically. Then they wanted to make a legitimate theater out of it. What was it before and what was it afterwards?
It was a nightclub, basically.
It was a nightclub.
Started out as a nightclub.
It was a serve drinks. It was a more casual kind of thing, and they wanted to turn it legitimate.
Well, it was a place for rich people to go slumming.
Yeah, pretty much.
It wasn't so much looking at underwear. They could see underwear at home.
Yeah, that's true.
The idea that
high class underwear.
They could see what the bohemians were doing.
Yes, exactly.
Right,
so it was one of those kind of places.
They were split knickers, by the way. You weren't going there to see underwear.
Yeah, exactly.
And it burned, right? Underwear was slightly covering up.
And eventually it burned, right?
Yeah.
It burned in before the First World War.
Oh wow!
And then they rebuilt it, and that's the one that's there today.
That's the one that's there now.
This
right,
one.
right.
This guy.
And if you go to the Moulin Rouge website, it's amazing. There's hardly anything about before 1970.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
It's like going to A.G. Farbin's website.
Yeah.
You know, Jim, I was thinking just about something you said about Singing in the Rain being this basically a pastiche of hits from other musicals.
Yeah.
And it doesn't strike us that way, but I wonder if audiences at the time were like, oh God, this is just somebody's iPod on shuffle. You know,
Right.
I heard all these songs already.
Somebody's Victrola on shuffle.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
No, it was hi-fi in 52.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I'm sure someone's go see White Christmas and sat down and says, "I heard this during the war." God, not again.
Yeah, right.
Or I already saw Holiday Inn, but this doesn't have any blackface.
Yeah, that's true. They're almost they're very similar films. All right, well, I guess we've all chimed in.
Johnny, explain yourself.
Hold on.
There's more.
Do you want Jared's?
Oh
yeah, let's hear Jared.
Jared has a long.
Just put it into the private message.
Just have it scroll by really fast.
Yeah.
Moulin Rouge. This was the second time I'd seen Moulin Rouge, and just like the first, I really enjoyed it. You gents know I'm not a big fan of musicals. It's always off-putting to me when the characters are talking and suddenly break into song. It's an acquired taste. I I have a few. I
Oh,
love.
Jared. Sorry.
I have a few I love: West Side Story, Singing in the Rain, White Christmas, and well, add Moulin Rouge to the list. Much of that is because Baz is such a unique filmmaker. I'm a fan of much of his work: Strictly Ballroom, my favorite, Romeo and Juliet, Moulin Rouge, and his TV show, The Get Down. Luhrmann has a pacing to his films. They are hurried as if he doesn't do act breaks. It's all one act, which seems like it wouldn't work, but it does. He hypnotizes you. I like to imagine that he makes films in a similar fashion that I like to imagine Malick does. He has an idea, shoots like crazy, and puts it all together in editing. Harmony Korina's Spring Breakers is another one that feels like it was constructed that way, and I love it. I know there's a lot more to it but that's how my filmmaker brain sees it. Baz also clearly has an affinity for a wide range of pop music, and like Tarantino with oldies and soul, he has an exceptional way of incorporating it into his work. His mashups here are inspired. However, I'm sure Kurt Cobain is rolling over in his grave over the use of Smells Like Teen Spirit. My favorite characters in the film are Zidler and the Duke. What wonderful characters, and both actors are incredible in their respective roles. Needless to say, Like a Virgin number is one of my favorites. Lastly, I was impressed the first time, and I still am, by Ewan McGregor's voice. What a tenor. I think Kidman is just so. They could have found someone better for her role. Thumbs up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I forgot. I wanted to mention that Jim Broadbent is really excellent in this.
Very good in this.
Yeah, he does a nice job.
He's
So-
probably the best.
He's
Also,
given
that fat-
110%.
That fat suit, man, that must have been
Yeah.
a fucking bitch to work in, because
Yeah.
he's. Oof.
Uh-huh.
So to explain myself, I wanted to see it again. It's not the kind of thing I ordinarily watch, but I remembered liking it, and I still like it. It's funny that the whole debate about is it good or bad that it's all these pop songs strung together, and I guess I get that it kind of takes me out of it. Every time you hear a song title being spoken in dialogue, I'm always like, it does kind of take me out of it a little bit.
Just meerkatting your way through the whole film.
Yeah, a little bit. But I think as much focus as there is on the visuals and the rapid fire editing, which I was telling Scott, I almost had a panic attack in the first 20 minutes because it goes so fast at the beginning. And I'm like, is the whole movie going to be like this? I'd forgotten. And then sure enough, he has to put on the brakes to tell the story. So he does slow down. Thank God.
Yeah, well, it goes from fourth to third, maybe, or second.
Yeah. But with all the talk about the visuals of it, I think this movie really succeeds on the music and Ewan McGregor's smile. That's like the two things that kind of carry you through this thing.
He's very appealing.
And Nicole Kidman's good too, and I think she's right for the part, and they do have good chemistry. But really, I think Ewan McGregor's so charming in this thing, and a pretty good singer too. And he really sells it when he hits those high notes. It's like not just singing, it's acting.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor's great in everything.
He looks like he's in love, and so that to me is takes me there. Even though I know everything is artificial and it's only an inch deep.
So that's the sincerity thing I was talking about.
I bought in.
I was sincere. Oh, I forgot to mention John Leguizamo, and he did a pretty good job. But I liked watching because I want to see how they're going to cheat the whole short thing.
How did they do that?
They really did a great job on that.
So there's three things. So one, he does a bunch of it's just camera angles.
Yeah.
Two,
medium shots. He's kneeling down.
Perspective.
Yeah. Two, there's a bunch of shots of him walking around with on his knees wearing blue socks, so they can edit it out.
Oh,
yeah.
Because that's really what his problem was.
His legs
did not grow.
Yeah, his arms were Toulouse-Lautrec's arms were fine. It was his legs were short. And then three, they actually had someone with the same or a very similar ailment, so they could do from the back and stuff like that with
body
a
double
person.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that was really well done. And part of the fun was watching him and saying, how are they going to do it this time? And they always did it. It's really nice.
Well, again, I as I said in my positive things about this movie, I love John Leguizamo. So almost anything that he's in, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch that. And also they should have used Kylie Minogue more.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed.
All right. She actually would have been really good as the lead.
You know, that's
I'm not
not
gonna argue with that.
that's not a bad. You could argue that for sure.
Sure.
Weirdly enough, it's probably gonna get cut out because we're off topic, but kind of.
No, leave it in.
All right, leave it in. All right, thumbs.
Oh, for
Just
sure.
move it to the next one.
I'm glad I saw it, but I didn't really enjoy it.
I think it.
I'm gonna give it 1.5 thumbs there.
Yeah. I'm like at 3 o'clock, 2:30, okay.
It's
All
got problems, but it's still, it went for broke, and I appreciate that.
Well, that's true. Like I said.